Yeah, what's going on?
I'm like really tired. Went to a hockey game last night and get home till like 1 o'clock.
Is your is your audio coming through your microphone or your PC?
It's coming through. Hold on. Oh, it's coming through this Yeti mic that I have up here.
Oh, okay.
Should be, anyways.
Okay.
Why is it sounding kind of crappy?
At first, it sounded kind of muffled.
Oh, maybe it's just me. I've got kind of a cold, so
From your vacation.
yeah, I don't know. Came off the ship, and since then I haven't felt good. I don't
How
think
did
that
you? How was your vacation?
was good. Well, I mean, I'm still technically on it, but it was good.
You took 2 weeks.
Yeah, I took 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Because I figured once I came off the cruise ship, I'm like, man, I probably need a couple days to get better. So I took like 2-3 days, and then my wife bought tickets to a hockey game last night. So and then I'm going fishing this weekend again for the last time. So I'm like, well, it doesn't make sense for me to go to work for these 2 days. So I just took the whole week off.
Playing with your dogs and enjoying your children.
Yeah, playing a lot of games and doing pretty much nothing the whole time.
Hmm.
Did oh, what the hell am I thinking now? How was Africa?
It was what I expected. Dusty.
Dusty?
It was dude. So I was in Ghana. I don't think they have landfills, man. They just burn everything.
Ugh.
Like it's just everything burns. So like kind of like so I remember like when I would descend from the heavens on a plane into Mexico City, I could see the brown like haze from the pollution. It was a very similar experience um, descending into Accra, Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Like just pollution. Um, I took a tour of some slave castles that were run by the Portuguese, the Dutch, and Great Britain. That was depressing. Taking a tour, being inside the dungeons, the same dungeons that African slaves had to endure. Well, the ones that survived, and then the door of no return that they would go through when they would get on a canoe and go towards the mothership and then set off sail. It was depressing, man. Like, dude, like those people were treated as cattle. They were branded. They were given slop. It was. I'm looking at my skin color and I'm like, God damn, I'm lucky. Like that. I mean, of course, in theory, I wouldn't be here if those events didn't happen. But I couldn't imagine the what those people endured. Like it was just very humbling. So
Yeah, it's terrible.
and then like similar to like when I lived in the Philippines, like they share my same skin color and maybe some features that I have physically. I still felt like I was on an alien planet. Like I have nothing in common but my skin color with these people, and it was just fascinating to me. Um, yeah, it was a very different experience. Have you never been outside the states? I mean, besides your cruise.
Yeah. Besides, well, I mean, I've been into Mexico and U.S. like when I was a kid, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
we drove around. We got driven around the Dominican a little bit, so
yeah,
that was interesting.
I would be curious if if you would feel the same thing if you were in like Eastern Europe, and like, I mean, you share the skin color, but then that's it. But I don't know if that would be your scenario. I just felt very foreign. Right. So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I have no idea. I mean, I've always wanted to go to Poland, but I don't know about it now because of the whole Ukraine war thing. I don't know if the Polish people are as nice or friendly as to Americans as they used to be. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe it's just their president who's got a little bit of a beef with things.
yeah.
But they're kind of, I think they're kind of afraid that, if Ukraine falls, well, Poland's next or whatever, and Russia's going to take it. I don't see that happening. But
It's not if, but yeah.
well, I mean, I don't see that they would ever invade Poland. I think there's specific reasons why Russia
Mm-hmm.
went into Ukraine, but yeah. So I don't know. I assume I'd feel a little foreign more with like the. Actually, I'd probably feel a little more foreign around like the French or the Spanish or people, not the English so much, but yeah, I don't know, maybe. But yeah, the Dominican was an interesting experience, like being outside. But I don't know. Is there a city in the U.S. that because you've been to the Dominican? Have you
Mm-hmm.
been? Where did you go to? So we were in Puerto Plata.
I've been to Puerto Plata, Punta Cana, and Sosua.
Oh. Would you say like is there a city in the U.S. that's similar to Puerto Plata? I mean, I haven't traveled. I mean, I've traveled the U.S., but I've
I
not.
mean, I think Spanish Harlem has a whole bunch of Dominicans. I've never been there before.
But yeah, I mean, we got driven around to different places, and it was like it was weird. It was very. I don't know if it was just the heat or what, but it was very like I don't know. It had a certain like haze or smell to the whole place, which was weird. But
Yeah, it's all
uh,
third world countries.
yeah,
You smell sewage, and yeah,
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I didn't smell sewage, but
I did when I was in Ghana.
and then the I was there's things that were interesting like when we drove by he's like, oh, here's the prison, and then he's like, oh, and then here's where the kids play baseball. It's like there's no way they'd put those two things next to each other in the
So
US.
you guys hired a tour guide?
Yeah, basically we had like a bus or a van that drove us around, and they brought us to Umbrella Street and the pink I don't know if you've seen it, this like pink alleyway.
No.
But it was all very much tourist trappy stuff. Like they didn't want us to get off. Then we went to some fort where they had it. Um, the one thing I never followed up on and I never figured out is why Haiti and the Dominican were different to begin with. I'm guessing it was just two colonial powers split the island in half at first, and then one gained independence before the other one. I'm guessing, and then
Yeah, I
they
think so.
eventually they fought each other, and now they're just separate permanently. And then we had some marijuana, which is the funniest thing ever because just the way that it's not marijuana, it's marijuana.
You smoke it?
No, it's a drink.
Mm.
It's like an infused root wine or something like that. It's interesting.
Mm.
It tastes good, but yeah.
So are you looking forward to retirement now that you went on your vacation?
Yeah. Well, I've been looking forward to retirement for forever, but it's still 25 years away. So, well, at best 25 years, maybe 30 years still. Which is just insane to think about. But I don't know. I kind of believe I won't make it to retirement. I feel like I'm gonna kick the bucket before then.
Mm. You sincerely believe that? Like you're dealing with some health stuff?
No. I just have it in the back of my head. Like
No.
there's just no way something's gonna happen to me. You know.
I I completed my second chapter.
Your
Yeah,
second chapter of
yeah, we haven't talked in a while.
yeah.
So I decided, I decided, I think a week and a half ago to write a novel.
Oh, you did like a
And
like a story, like a fictional novel.
yeah,
Oh, cool. What's it about?
the title is Software Project Management Anti Patterns, Volume 1.
Oh, but it's a novel.
Hmm.
You need a better name than that.
I wanted to be SEO friendly.
Oh, anti patterns. Oh, okay. So you're writing it from a novel perspective, or like a fictional story, but
I'm
it's
writing it from a novel perspective.
but it's but the title's like a problem is the title's like a nonfiction book. I would pick that up and think it's a nonfiction book. Like,
The whole point of the book is to provide insight on how to improve um, the management of the software development effort.
hmm. So it's like the Phoenix Project, for instance, is that one like
It's
a
it's heavily inspired by it.
yeah, but that's not called what DevOps.
I want my stuff to be
Okay.
SEO friendly.
Yeah.
The way I look at it, there's less barriers to entry to be a manager of software developers than to be a software developer. Um, so the intent of the book or my motivation for writing a book is one is I want to get some passive income. Who knows? I'll probably fail at this just like I fail at everything else in life. But two is the market that I'm catering to will be both um, managers and developers, right? So that it's not just developers, right? It increases the market of readers that would be interested in the book, and I just don't think there's a lot of books that are written on that specific topic. The Phoenix Project, my stuff is heavily inspired by it. It is right, um, but I wanted to focus more on. I want to focus more on the tools that can be used. So like I have a lot of like, okay, so this is how you would do it, and so I have an example of a dependency map for detailing the software development effort for a given project and how different tasks rely on other tasks and blah blah blah. And I also have like a table for feature breakdown that's more specific to an individual feature than the wider scope of the software project itself. So it's a it's a novel, but it also has like or shares tools on how to actually address common issues that managers run into. So uh,
So is it just one big long like narrative, or is there like is it just like information written in a narrative form, or is it like excuse me, or are you following like a 3 act structure, like a hero journey structure, something like that? Is it
I'm following an outline. How do I do this? I'm following an outline. I'll show you what I have. You see my screen? You see my screen?
oh yeah.
Yeah. So like it'll have several each chapter is a pattern, right? There's a whole bunch of more chapters that I haven't added to here. added in here yet.
Hmm.
But the Ready Set Go basically reads anti-pattern, lack of strategic planning due to management deploying a project team before understanding development requirements and its interdependencies. The motivation is organizations prematurely staff software projects due to unrelenting pressure from investors and leadership, including the need for immediate action, optimism bias, lack of technical understanding, perceived project visibility, and pressure to meet aggressive deadlines, all of which mirror the flawed logic of starting a race without an adequate preparation. And then for each chapter, I have a metaphor. All right. So, like, runners, on your mark, right? Then I say, a race between runners is a thrilling display of speed, skill, and endurance. Before the race begins, athletes gather at the starting line, stretching and preparing themselves mentally and physically for the challenge ahead. The atmosphere is filled with anticipation as the runners align themselves, their bodies tense with focus. As the crowd falls silent, the official steps forward and announces, runners, on your mark. The runners crouch, poised and ready. A moment of absolute stillness hangs in the air, broken only by the soft rustle of the runner's breaths. Then the official continues, ready, set, and raises a revolver. Its metallic glint catching the sunlight. A sharp, deafening crack echoes through the stadium as the official fires his revolver, signifying the moment that is just as important as the beginning as it is in the end. Go! It's a single decisive moment that unleashes the culmination of all their preparation, a collective surge that sends a tremor through the starting line. The sound of pounding feet fills the air, a rhythmic thunder as they race toward victory, with each runner pushing their limits. At the finish line, the runners are met with cheers as the first to arrive are celebrated for their triumph. The ceremony includes applause, medals, recognition for athletes, dedication, and hard work, marking the culmination of their race and determination. And then I provide an analogy. The metaphor of a race meet with its runners on your mark and the sharp crack of the revolver initiating the sprint provides a powerful analogy for the execution of a software project. While the audience sees the thrilling sprint to the finish line, much of the crucial work happens behind the scenes, mirroring the hidden complexities of software development. Initiating a software project with the mindset of a race, focusing solely on the go, the pistol firing without the necessary runners on your mark and ready, set, phases will expose the project to significant risks. The premature start without meticulous planning, thorough analysis, and project design can lead to chaos, costly rework, and ultimately a failure to cross the metaphorical finish line. And then compare it to an iceberg analogy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so like this chapter is like 55 pages. Not 50. Yeah, yeah. Not 50. Yeah, 55 pages. So
Oh,
there's
wow.
also the Supernova release. I completed this one. All this is draft, right? So it's going to get lit up when I have people like you review it, but there's structure to it.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. How much AI are you using to write, or is this all from?
Oh, you think I wrote all this?
Okay.
I wrote the. So it's interesting. Um, it's as if like I'm addicted to this. I didn't realize this would be a hobby, right? Like I was just walking down the beach, and I'm like, man, I need to figure out how to make some money. Every time I try to create a software product, I fail at it. Like, what can I do that I haven't done? And I was like, uh, maybe instead of writing code, maybe I should try writing a book instead. And then I just went to work. So I'm kind of like a director, man. Between I've been using Gemini for a lot of this, and I just direct Gemini on the outline that I have, and I direct it on the characters that I want to introduce, the internal struggle for each character, um, the tension between the character and another character in regards to what's trying to be accomplished and the polarization between the two sides. And then it starts producing what I want, and then I just start iterating on it, saying, I want this character to blah blah blah, and I want the sensory for this paragraph to depict blah blah blah, and it's just iteration after iteration. I'm addicted to it.
Hmm. That's cool.
Yeah.
You haven't written the. You didn't go out and try to write the software to write the novel before you start writing the novel. And I wouldn't call this a novel. This is kind of a. It's just got a narrative structure in it.
No, you're looking at the first page. So over here, here's a section, stress of anticipation, and it's talking about the stakeholders like the VP of engineering, tech lead, CTO, and basically, I mean, each chapter reflects like some some like crazy event that most of us have experienced, such as maybe after a death march, it's go time to release the software, and they're just going to big bang release it. And but they didn't like load test it because they didn't quote unquote have time because they've been programming and applying fixes up into the last like day.
Mhm.
And so then they just release it to everybody all at the same time, and then all of a sudden the dashboard monitors in the CTO's office where the CEO is in his office, and they're looking at the logs, and all of a sudden everything start bleeding red font conveying the errors, and then all of a sudden phones are ringing, and like it's a novel.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's.
all right, well you
I'm
could
assuming
correct
it's
me on
a
what a
set of
novel
short
is.
stories amongst, right?
No, the goal is to wire each chapter to build into another chapter. So the Ready Set Go is about premature staffing and how you're having more meetings about how to get work for development teams than you are actually working on and delivering the product. And then so that's the Ready Set Go. And then the Death March is, well, we've now got some work, but we have this crazy deadline that we have to meet. And then, developers are dropping like flies. The management are kind of disconnected from what's happening in the trenches and blah, blah, blah. And then the supernova release follows the end of the quote unquote death march. Really, it's just the beginning of firefighting, which is the chapter after that. Like, that's my vision is each chapter feeds into the next as a novel.
Yeah. Yeah. As far as like the story part of it. So reminds me a little bit of, oh God, what was the book?
The Phoenix Project.
No, the way there's another book that wrote a kind of mix of nonfiction with fiction together. Um, let me remember what it was. Well, I remember the author.
The Unicorn
Um,
Project.
no, it wasn't a software project at all. It was about entrepreneurship. Um, I don't know that I actually finished it. Oh yeah, it was the Great Rat Race Escape by
Oh,
MJ DeMarco.
yeah, I never heard of it.
So what he did in that book is it basically echoes a lot of what he did in his previous books, which are Unscripted, which I think is probably his best book, and then The Millionaire Fasting, which is the more famous one. But that one he basically goes into principles, and then he tells this story of throughout the book. It's the story of this couple who start like a soup business or something like that from the ground up. So it's like, oh, my wife's got good soup, and oh, we went and we got, uh, they just took the journey, and then they did product testing, and then they got a partner to do distribution, and then they had setbacks, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
So like, so one, I completed the draft of two chapters, The next one's firefighting, and there's like 9 chapters altogether for the first volume. And my thought process is get this done. Maybe I'll invest 1,000 or a couple thousand on an editor, implement their feedback as best as possible, self publish, get it on Amazon, sell the book for $10 for the first 2 months. So hopefully it'll be a no brainer for most folks to just buy it. And then, I mean, they really didn't spend that much money. So whatever, just to get traction on hopefully reviews. And then after a couple months, if I executed good enough, then raise the price to like $30 or whatever, and rely on that. But the 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 strategy of selling it for $10 or maybe even $1, I don't whatever, is to try to get as much reviews as possible before I jack up the price to a moderate price tag.
Yeah, I wonder if you'll fall into that trap of um, that a lot of people fall into, thinking that a lower price will actually yield more sales or better sales or whatever. There is kind of a
You think that's a trap?
well, in like, I know for app development for sure, and some other things, game development or whatever. Actually, just in general, products in general. Like, the idea is that, if I keep this price low, I'll get a lot of sales, right? When you think about it, you need 3 sales to get of $10 to get, if you price it like $30, right? But the thing is that when people buy something that's cheap, or even if they're looking at something that they think is kind of cheap, they might look at it and go like, oh, this is just too cheap. It's not valuable enough. Like, they don't ascribe the value to it that it has, and so they think of it as too cheap or whatever. But
Are you
if you
referring
come,
to books, or are you talking about like
this is
tangible
this is products,
hardware?
and this is products in general, whether it's apps or whatever. Is that a lot of like game developers will put their game out there for $1, and a lot of people be like, I'm not going to waste my time with that because it's so cheap, it can't be good. There's like,
Yeah, yeah. What are you sure? Are you taking into consideration the ratings of that game? If it has 4+ stars or 4.5 stars, they're probably going to investigate.
well, that's why a sale after the fact makes sense. But man, it's been a while since I've done, like, this used to be a common theme. Like, you could probably write a book about common things among like any entrepreneur books, and this is one of them, is this like trap of charging too little for your product. I mean, if you
Okay.
think about it, you put a lot of time into it, but the idea is, again, that people, and this might actually be, I wonder if this is one of the ones that's in influencer persuasion. Um, gosh, I feel like I have the physical book for both of them, but maybe I only have the physical book for one. But this Robert Cialdini ones. But yeah, the idea is that people, how much they pay for something, they'll prescribe. So it's like paradoxical that you think if you put the price low, you'll get a lot of sales and that people will like it. But really, it's better to upsell it, or to price it high, and then you'll get you might get less sales, but you'll get more money. But the people who get it will have a better feeling about it because they spent money on it. So it's almost like a sunk cost thing.
Yeah.
Gosh, let me see if Let me see if ChatGPT knows what the hell I'm talking about.
No, I get what you're saying. They're more invested in it.
Let me see. Price quality signaling. Let me see if that yields any actual response. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but there is some sort of phenomenon like that.
And the other part is to get an audiobook version of it.
Yeah, then I'll actually read it rather than just.
Yeah, like listen to it in the shower and commuting.
Yeah, so this is I did remember it. It was in Robert Cialdini's Influence. Gosh, I swear to God I have that book. The physical book, not just the. Am I just not seeing it? Or did I? But Influence is a good book. If you haven't read it, that'd be one worth a listen to. Influence and then Persuasion. It's like psychology about whatever, but price as a shortcut to quality. The price quality heuristic. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I there's some sort of psychological thing that price signals quality. And so if you price too low, people will automatically think of it as a low quality thing. Although you might get reviews that say otherwise, but I don't know. Some people also review bomb, or like they cheat review systems. So it's not uncommon for people to kind of like question the reviews now, I think.
Have you ever considered writing?
Yeah, I've wanted to do I don't know. Maybe I just wouldn't be good at it, but the National Novel Writing Month is November. It's like you're supposed to write so many words a day or whatever, and then by the end of the month you have a novel. A lot of people do it, and some people self-publish, but yeah, I mean, I've thought about it. I don't know. Every time I do reading about it, it's like, well, if you're not a reader, then you can't. You're not supposed to. There's gatekeeping and all that, but and I don't know. I overthink it, and then I just never pick it up. So it's like everything else I do. But yeah, I just also don't have any particular stories I want to tell, I suppose.
Well, you can feed me some ideas for the anti-patterns that I'm writing.
Maybe. I haven't been in a lot of. I mean, maybe on your first book, it's hiring a bitch ton of consultants and contractors up front, thinking you're going to need a huge amount of whatever. It's like I don't know, it's almost like Mythical Man Month type stuff. Is the big one. Like I had a job once where I was kind of like a team lead, and I was asked by the manager, like, oh, how many? Okay, we need to get this work done. How many people do you need? I'm like, we don't need more people. We need less people, probably. Like, there's too many communication. Like, there's too many communication interdependent.
Paths.
What paths? Yeah, it's like it's not, and we're not throttled by the amount of people we have. We're throttled by the amount of by inner team dependencies, right? Because I'm like, I can spit out a ton of code very quickly if we have everything in place to do it. And I'm confident that X, Y, and Z people on my team can also do that. And so we put a lot of waste into just talking about what we're going to do and
Hmm.
trying to communicate the ideas amongst the team. And then what I was just completely ignored. It's like,
Yeah.
all right, we got two people for you. It's like I I just said we don't need we need less people. Like we need to reduce the size here. We need a more focused. I don't know if that's a paradox or what, but it's like the more people you add, it's just there's more communication chains. You all of a sudden have conflicts. You've got different visions. You can't communicate the ideas across the team as well. It's just slower overall. Like I don't know. I honestly think that a single developer in a lot of cases, as long as you have a scoped project, can do the work of many people. You know, it's I don't know. I don't unless you have specialties, the parallelization of work doesn't really gain you much. So, especially if you're working on the same logical thing, like if you compartmentalize and say you work on this, you work on this, and they're completely separate, you can develop mental models that are interdependent only on contracts. And then one person, implements each section. It can go pretty quickly. That's why like single developers can do a lot of times can sit down and do like a project in a weekend and deliver something, whereas like a team of people takes like months, you know, because everyone has their ideas, opinions, you have different patterns, you have to talk about how you code. AI is gonna make all that obsolete though, and we're all screwed. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd read that book Influence anyways. It might be I think there's an audiobook for it. So do you think is AI good enough to do the audio book for you now? To
Mm,
transcribe it?
you want to test it? I don't know. Let me see.
I'm sure that there's services out there that'll take a book and do it for you, but I wonder if it knows
Let me see.
like the inflection points and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Let me take this right here.
I suppose you can sort of drop it into ChatGPT or something and say just generate the. But although that only generates so much audio, so
Let me see if I go to.
you'd have to probably get a specific LLM that's good at reading those kinds of things.
Uh, using. Is there an option? No, that's add files. Using
That's
a
Gemini.
How you spell narrator? Is it two R's?
I think it's 2 hours. Yeah, I think so.
Narra.
TOR.
For
Oh no! Remove the second AR. Oh. Although
using
I've learned kind of because I can't type on my phone very well anymore for some reason.
read the following content as if it were an audio book. Let's see. How do you get it to?
I don't know if Gemini can read uh, if it can generate audio or not.
Read the following. Oh god. Oh no, that's command. How do you?
There are services out here that do it though. You can even clone your own voice apparently. Author's voice. I don't know. But yeah, I'd see if there's a service you can pay a little bit for.
Audio.
So you didn't meet a lover in Ghana, and they're gonna move there, or bring her back on a green card.
Dot dot dot. What's this? If I say AI I still can't. AI narrator.
Yeah, I think that the stuff is good enough now to do like an audiobook. Oh yeah, they might be. I would probably find one that's specific to audiobooks because it's.
In the ancient land of Eldoria,
Can you hear this?
where the skies were painted with shades of mystic hues, and the forest whispered.
Hold up. I didn't paste that in there. Crap.
Well, you're way over the 500 for the short part. I just grab a paragraph.
Hmm. Really? Oh. 500 words is nothing, dude.
Yeah, just grab a paragraph, just that first paragraph. It's up to shared anxiety.
All right, just give me a second. I think they're counting characters and not words. That has to be characters. It's worthless.
Just do that first one, man.
It still exceeds it.
What? Really? All right. We are launching a revolution must be the end point.
Right here.
There.
The CEO, a master of theatrical pronouncements, leaned slightly into the camera, a broad, practiced smile stretching across his face. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, his voice resonating with an almost evangelical fervor. Today marks a pivotal moment in Titan Bank's history. We are not just launching a project, we are launching a revolution.
Yeah. I mean, I think with AI stuff, you could probably generate most of it now.
In the ancient land of Eldoria, where the skies were painted with shades of
How much is this going to be?
Try some other ones though. I mean, look at some other ones. I would shop around because there are ones that are dedicated specifically to doing audiobook.
Yeah, I gotta go to a dental clinic, so I gotta hop off.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Yo, it's been real catching up with you.
Yep. Yeah, I'll expect the end of the book by next week then. So put that on the publisher's desk.
I would like to have the first draft completed by April 15th. Hold on, isn't that tax day?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, scratch that. Yeah, I gotta go though. I still gotta shower and then drive. So
All right. See you. All right. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.